Well, hi, Michelle. I feel as though everything about the subjects you've chosen to draw here is quite good, proportionally speaking. Especially like the to-go cup. Its bands suggest a cylinder or cone form, and the straw is quite believable too. With the door, the proportion generally seems correct. However, I feel as though a symbol system has kicked in here when it comes to drawing the detail on the door's surface, those rectangular forms. I would suggest using a straight edge for something like that, though um, don't get hung up on getting it just right, and I wouldn't measure with a ruler. Now, I want to talk about what the assignment's looking for. Um, if you read carefully and acquaint yourself with the concepts that are being presented in our reading otherwise, the assignment's really asking for three objects that are situated adjacent to each other in a single still life. So here in your drawing, there's really no relation between the cup and the door. The cup seems to be floating, if you will. So for future, I would arrange things in a still life, in an arrangement, so that they are together. Well, hi, Bob. I'm going to go back and look at the discussion to see what the third thing you've drawn is. It appears that there are two here. Now, a couple of things. This object in the foreground seems to be drawn with a lot of care. The one to the rear has a circular shape, and the circle looks a little wobbly. That suggests to me that you're drawing with your wrist, or maybe you're drawing on a very small scale. I would recommend drawing on 18 by 24 paper if you can, and I'd like you to try to get the drawing motion emanating from your elbow rather than your wrist. I think you can actually use your arm in a manner, something like, um, a compass. If you swing your arm, you should be able to get a round or a circle, if you will. Something's up with the way you're scanning this. I want you to scan in full color so that we see the whole range of values. Hi, Amanda. I know creative types have a will of their own, but I'm going to hold you to the assignments here in our class. This assignment is asking for three objects, but it seems to me that you have more than that. And one other thing is, the assignment's asking for you to show the plane upon which your subjects sit, and I don't really see that. Remember, this is not intended to be a finished drawing, but more of a sketch. I do like your choice of subjects and the way that you're working with the geometric forms here. Well, hi, Tom. You've done a good job of fulfilling the assignment here. Um, I like the way that the objects are positioned on the table. I would say that this is a rather detailed drawing and more than what the assignment is asking you to do. Another thing I'd say is it might be that you're getting hung up on details that aren't creating an illusion of form. I would avoid lettering out any text that you see on your subjects, and instead, if you want to go further with the drawing, work on how light and shadow fall over form. Sometimes squinting reveals this best. I'm wondering about the rear end of this object. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'll go back and check in the discussion. But the rear end might be more curvy, and I'd like you to see what I've been telling people otherwise about drawing cylinders. This form is loosely cylindrical, and the edge that's further from your eye is generally curvier with a cylinder. Hi, Mason. I hope all of you guys are enjoying Serena's text. I find him to be an inspiring author, and one thing he's talking about that might be of help to you, Mason, is the concept of putting an axis through a form that is mainly symmetrical. So I'd like you to turn to page 29 and take a look at that sketch of a wine bottle laying down and observe how there's a central axis from the mouth of the bottle to the base. I think putting that sort of axis in could help you with something like, say, this tall pitcher or vase form. Now, of course, I haven't seen the form itself, and it might be that it's not symmetrical. I'm just guessing that it is. When you draw a cylindrical form such as the large vase in center, if the top edge is not straight, perfectly horizontal, or curved so that it arcs upward, we're going to need to see the rear edge of the opening. Hi, Kimberly. It might be that you've neatened this up, but I'm not seeing a sort of indication of use of citing, or I guess what I'm looking for is a line or marks that are searching for the right proportion for your subjects. You might have erased all those out, but there's no need to, because this is actually a sort of rough sketch. I do love this sort of bottle, the syrup bottle that suggests the human form. I want you to work on angles, and I'm going to refer you to my announcement on citing. I think that the top left angle on your box is not obtuse enough. I do like the choice of an egg as a subject. And like I was just saying to Mason, I'd suggest you see page 29 in Duranis' book about using an axis, for instance, with a syrup bottle. Well, hi, Joanne. This seems to be a very competent drawing. I do long for more of a quality of searching, as I was just saying to Kimberly. I don't want you guys to fix up your drawings, or at least drawings of this nature, by erasing away lines that wound up not being so significant to your composition. My general approach is to start exceedingly lightly, and as I find my way, I darken the value so that I know which lines are the ones I want to stick with. I'm looking for more of a suggestion of the table here. One thing I do in this sort of still life is draw the rear edge of the table so that I have a sense of how the objects are oriented in space and upon that surface. Well, hi, Lisa. I like the way that this cup has been drawn. It appears that the surface upon which the subjects are sitting is right at eye level. That would be the only situation where you could draw the bottom edges as horizontals. And that's an okay vantage point. Now, the marks here look very large for the paper. And it might be that you're drawing in charcoal, which would be okay. The material to draw with hasn't been specified. Or you might be using a very small page of paper. At any rate, I would say larger paper is best, particularly if you work with charcoal. I like to see those lines that you're using for measuring the tops of the forms, and I like to see that sort of line used more frequently for the axis down the center of the form, for finding the outer edges of the form. I want your mark to be free and swinging. You can start very lightly, and there's an idea called pentimento, which suggests the lines that are used as you busily search for the position and shape of the forms. I would like everybody to leave those lines showing. Presumably they're going to be drawn in a very pale light mark, and so they won't interfere with the main gist of the drawing. Chris, I would like to applaud you. A bicycle is a very difficult sort of subject, and I can see that you are using the methods that are being discussed in our readings. The only thing I'd say here is perhaps consider making the handlebars and seat of geometric forms that fit within the form of those subjects themselves versus over. Hi, Nina, if I'm correct here, this is a candle in the form of a flower, and I like the way that one form echoes the other. They have a similarity. Like I was saying to others, I encourage you to use an axis for symmetrical forms such as the cup. Also, I would say with this sort of drawing, I like to see more indication of the